So one of the important section of the MCQ is a painter, connected with the painting. Painting is a very, very important discipline for direction, as well as for cinematography, as well as for art direction student and those who are into animation also to some extent, I would say. But in the GK section, they can ask any question related to a painter, and Indian and international both are important. You cannot say, because as you all know, FTI syllabus is a vague syllabus, or rather there is no syllabus, I would say. But still, on the basis of previous year's question paper, you can guess. So last to last year, I suppose, there was a question for the cinematography section. This question was there. Some of the question remains same. I would say 80% or something like that. And if earlier there used to be 30 question on MCQ, and 70 was the domain specific section. Now they have reduced from 30 to 20 as a MCQ, and 30 is a MSQ, which is a kind of MCQ, but more of a domain specific. So there was a question, bride's toilet, a painting called bride's toilet. They did not show you the painting, but they asked, bride's toilet is made by, there were 4 names. So who made the bride's toilet painting? Anybody would like to say? Nobody would like to say. Half of you have already gone for a morning walk, so you're not there. But those whosoever are there, they don't know who's a bride's toilet. So there are so many bride's toilet, and these are more than 1,000 names you need to remember. Just now I have just spoken 1,000 names. We are not talking about the painting by showing you the painting. If I show you the painting, you may be able to recollect, provided if you have ever bothered to look at them. And don't tell me that I am a poor man, I can't afford and all that shit. I have loaded those paintings over here in a painting section. Instead of roaming around here and there, I've taken all the paint to load over here. But today we will mainly concentrate on the 100 paintings which are most important in the international scenario. If you look into any of these things, I have done a lot of research of various kind of websites and various other magazines where you see these paintings are being featured over there. So in the painting section, there are so many painters, but I would cover the 100 famous painting from the examination point of view, because not more than one question would come. Now, what is my criteria to find out which painting is important? I will make a video and show it to you. I have invested more than 1 lakh rupees in books of painting. There is a series of great painters, which is basically cost you 300 to 400. And there are 100 painters are being covered in that series. Every painter, they have included roughly around 20 to 30 important paintings of that painter. And then I have also done a little research on various sites who consider which are the greatest painting, which it may vary from one painting which is among the 100, it may not be in the next list. Then there is a third list, then there is a second list or fourth list. So on the basis of whatever I have done research, I have collected these 100 paintings. I do not claim that other 100, if you come out with tomorrow another list of another 100 and you fight with me, no sir, this painting is not there, it doesn't matter to me. I would say these are the popular 100 paintings which people should know. After looking at it, you should be immediately able to recollect its name, and also the name of the painter. But you will recollect only and only if you have ever bothered in your life to remember these names, to take a pen. Another criteria to figure out if a painting is important, it will feature on some postal service stamp. That's a very strange criteria, you may find it. But every painting will not feature on the stamp. How many paintings from Indian painters, for example, you have seen on the any postal services of India? Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. Not more than that. If anybody of you is a collector of the stamp, then you will rise on and off. They have Gemini Roy and few other printers. They have use those paintings on the stamp to celebrate or commemorate some anniversary or something like that. So looking at the image and you should be able to figure it out. So let's begin with that thing. So I'm just, first of all, some of these names you will not be able to pronounce, but their surname are more easy, like Picasso, Cezanne. You may not know the full name of Cezanne, but Paul Cezanne is his full name. You may not be able to pronounce the first name, Henri Daumier, but Daumier is the famous name. So I'll just enlarge the image. So this is a painting. After looking at this painting, you should be able to remember the name of the painting. It's called the Third Class Carriage, which I have already mentioned. And this is a painting by Daumier. So in the examination, they will not show you the image. Here I have, instead of showing the first general image, I have directly shown you the main image so that you should be able to connect the name with the image itself. So this is one of the famous painting featured on a couple of stamps I have seen. Okay, this is the most simplest question, but if you don't know, then it's difficult. Tilotama, by all these are big names: Raja Ravi Verma, Amrita Shergill, Gemini Roy, Vikas Bhattacharya. So this is one of the famous painting by Raja Ravi Verma. I'll just make an enlarged version of this. So Tilotama is the name. Moving a little further, woman holding a fruit. I would say this is the most important, important in the sense of popularity. Very often you see this painting being framed and sold into the houses. I know some people who have nothing to do in the painting in their general life, but strangely I found this painting framed over there in their house. So Raja Ravi Verma, again, woman holding a fruit. They will not show you the painting again and again, I'm saying. They will tell you the name. Who made the famous painting, woman holding a fruit? Okay. So just by this image itself, you should be able to figure it out that it is a Kandinsky. Kandinsky is one of the most important painter for the abstract kind of painting, and he has a very peculiar style. So this particular painting I have selected because I have seen many of the names, but this name, figure it out in all the list. You can feel that these three colors name: yellow, red, and blue. There's a film also called Three Color Blue, Three Color Red, Three Color White. So instead of white, there is yellow. So yellow, red, blue. Once they say who made the painting on yellow, red, blue, immediately you should be able to say Kandinsky. So this is how the image look like. Okay. So three musicians. Again, after looking at the painting, you should be able to easily figure it out. Picasso has done more than 1,000 paintings. So this is a painting. We also have a section devoted to a specific painters, but we will talk about them later on. But if we need to talk about some selected work of the Picasso, Three Musicians is one of the image or painting which you will come across in various listing here and there. So Three Musicians. Okay, this strange kind of thing is a landmark style of René Magritte, and in one of the question paper I recollect, in the direction particularly, they gave a image which is called The Lovers, and they ask you to interpret the image. It was roughly around a 10 marks question 3 years back or 4 years back. So Son of a Man, Son of Man, the Son of Man is by René Magritte. I'll just increase the size of this image so you can see this apple directly on his head. Many a times I've seen people using this image in a different context, and not exactly I would say parody, but they modify the image and they use it for a different purpose. So I've seen this image very often by people using here and there. Also, this is the criteria to figure it out if some parody of the image is available of a painting, or if the parody of artwork is available. So that is a sign that this particular painting is famous. So parody or caricature of a painting used. There are various fun images you can find of painting where the painting is being used in a very funny manner. And you know that this painting belongs to that particular painter. So the flower carrier. Diego Rivera is, some people know more of this painter because of that lady who is a famous painter, who a feature film is also made on her, Farida Kahlo. So Diego Rivera was the husband. Diego married a couple of times, so he was also married to the Farida Kahlo. Farida Kahlo is one of the star painters among various painters. So this is an image. You may not be able to enjoy these images here because they are low resolution, so that the website should not become heavy and it should not take time to open up, because this is a image. If it is a heavy image, then it'll take. But on the art Wikipedia pages are there, where you can download these high resolution images for your pleasure, or buy a book where you will find high resolution images of this. So the flower carrier is a famous painting by Diego. Sleeping Gypsy. The moment you see this particular style, you know that this is Rousseau. So Henry Rousseau is the painter, and I'll just show you the big image. All his paintings, all means more or less all, you could see that smooth surfaces, not very realistic style, colors. Look at this. We are not discussing the painting appreciation right now. But if I'll show you a couple of more painting by this painter, you will easily able to recollect that the same guy, Henry Rousseau. Another important painter, and Sleeping Gypsy is a famous painting. Okay. Now this guy, everybody knows, is one of the most important painter, and Raphael is his name. And this is a painting also being used on the cover of his book by this series of painter, which I very often buy. Normally around 1100 to 1200 rupees. So this particular painting was used on the cover of that. So I realized this is a important painting. So again, Raphael, very important painter. Now this painting is again one of the most star painting of Edvard Munch, Scream. And some small animation is also available on the internet if you search. And somebody made a 1 minute or 2 minute thing. Now this particular painter belongs to a particular style at that time, and that particular style affected cinema in terms of the style of filmmaking. So that was a very intelligent question, that how a particular cinema movement was affected by, I don't remember the exact language of the question, but they said how this particular cinema movement was affected by the painting, and describe detail about that particular cinema movement. So Scream belongs to a certain style which affected the cinema movement. Edvard Munch is one of the star painter. Okay, so we'll move to further. Okay, the Night Watch, Rembrandt, is again most important painter from the Holland. Let me see. Okay, it's a very huge painting actually. If you try to find out the size of this painting, you will find out it's a very huge painting in terms of the size of the painting. And you can also feel that source lighting is a very important aspect of this. And there's much more detail into the painting. We are not going to into it because from the examination point of view, that is more important. You should be able to qualify the exam rather than to be an expert of a painting. So the Night Watch, Rembrandt, if you talk about Rembrandt, the Night Watch is the film. There may be another question on the Rembrandt, that who made the documentary on Rembrandt? It's a Bert Hanstra, which is a famous Dutch documentary filmmaker. Rembrandt is most important painter, and Night Watch is the painting which people talk about. Okay, Bruegel is my favorite painter because he did a lot of painting about the working class people. If you really, I have a very high resolution images of this painting of his book. So Bruegel, there are two Bruegel, there's a junior and senior. So we don't get confused into the people. So this is a particular painting. You can see that the harvesters. You can see people are just relaxing after they are cutting and all that. Okay. Just give me a moment. Now here, another famous painter, one of the star painter, I would say, Vincent van Gogh. And The Night Cafe is one of the popular painting by the same guy. If you ever go to Holland, I have seen the longest queue anywhere in the Europe is Van Gogh Museum. Almost like a half a kilometer long queue. Everybody is standing very relaxed, no dhakka mukki and all that nonsense. People are relaxed and waiting for their turn. So anyone who comes to Amsterdam, they go to the Van Gogh Museum. And you will come to know the vibrancy of this color when you see the original painting. Why Van Gogh is so great, beside his own style, but also the reproduction in terms of the color and all that. Okay, so now this is another famous painter, and there's a section in our MCQ also. We will talk about that at some point. The films made on famous painter. I've also included a section called films made on the famous painter. So if somebody has done a film on a painter, it means the painter must be important. So the Meadow of San Isidro, it's another long horizontal cinemascope format aspect ratio of this painting. It's a very, very detailed painting. If you look into this high resolution image, this is not the high resolution. So you can see the composition in terms of V shape and all that. So Goya is the painter, and there is a feature film exists on him on Goya. We will talk about that section later on. Maybe next time we will discuss that particular section only because it's connected with the painting itself. Okay. Whenever we talk about this painter and this particular image comes up all the time, whenever you will see this name of this painter. So Hokusai is the painter, and this image, the Great Wave of Kangwa, is the image, and you can see the particular style. It's very typical in terms of making. So it's more of a style of this painter where you could see in a different way this particular image is being talked about always. Whenever we talk about this lady, it is, I think, is a woman painter. Okay. There's a book called What Great Painting Says. And it's again Taschen publication. Everybody, whosoever want to understand about painting appreciation, they must invest into this book. Roughly around 2,000 rupees is the cost, not more than that. And is also a small size, though there's a large coffee table book is also there, which costs more than 5,000, but this 2,000 rupees book is good enough. And this fortune teller is the Georges de la Tour is the painter. And you could see a little more detail of this painting, how this hand is there, which is cutting this golden chain over there. You see another hand of the lady who's a pickpocketer over here. And you see this eyes movement. So that cover of that thing is just the lady, this lady in the center, and the movement of her eyes. That much only. So maybe if by mistake or by your hard work, there are two ways only. If you qualify the written exam and pray very hard that person like me will not be sitting in the examination, because if person like me will sit, you will have a tough time. So they will show you only the central image and will ask you who's the painter. As simple as that. So you should be immediately recollecting your name, Georges de la Tour, particularly student who are the cinematography student and direction student. Both are, and obviously art direction. Art direction is equally important because if you don't know about the painters and the painting, forget about art direction. You have selected a wrong course. That's why the qualification to appear in an art direction or production design course is that you have to do a BFA. Okay. So Georges de la Tour, again, a very famous painter from France. And this is a famous painting, as I said, that used on the cover also, just the central part of this lady. What great painting says. Name of the book. Again, Starry Night, Van Gogh used very often this particular painting on these cards which we send to various friends on and off. So you could see this painting, Starry Night, Van Gogh. Okay. Paul Klee. Paul Klee is another famous painter and a kind of abstract painter, I would say. And this Red Balloon is a famous painting by that painter. So I have selected this thing. There's also a famous short film called Red Balloon. Palme d'Or winner in Cannes for a short film category. Then again, Paul Cézanne. There's a spelling mistake inside. Whenever we talk about the Cézanne, this is a book, this is a painting which comes always and discussed. It's called The Large Bather. You could see suggestive figures, not the detailed figures, but again, every painter has his own style. They followed a particular, I would say, format or movement of art movement. And this is one of them, Cézanne, Large Bather. Bathing is subject which is famous among the painters, and you very often you will say nude figures, but that was one of the style popular in those days. Okay, so this is another controversial and I would say controversial in the sense the image itself, and because it is a Picasso, so boy with a pipe. Okay, you could see this hair having flowers, etc., and he's just holding a pipe over there. So famous painting by Picasso. So this is the second painting we discussed today by Picasso. Not so many paintings, but again, Picasso is Picasso, one of the star painter among. If you choose one out of these 100 who's a star painter, either it will be a Van Gogh or it will be a Picasso. Somebody might disagree, but that's the way it is. Okay. So 21, Marcel Duchamp. There on the Google, if you go and you will find a fan club of Marcel Duchamp, you will see a lot of images connected with this painter, abstract in some way. So nude descending a staircase. There's also an animation in this name, animation film done. So you can see this image very often among the 100 top paintings, and it's Marcel Duchamp. Today's lecture is a very, very important from examination point of view. Anybody who has any affection toward the fine arts and painting, he can pick up any of these images, and that's it, depend upon his interest. If my favorite painter is Marcel Duchamp, I would choose nude descending a staircase. If my favorite painter is Bruegel, I would choose something else. So everybody has their own favorite painter. There's no fixed rule who will be who, but that's the way it is. So Salvador Dali, many people think that he is one of the greatest painter, because I also think he is one of the greatest painter. This business of PDF of tomorrow, forget about it. Somebody asked Swapnil Pople to everyone. Forget about this PDF business, okay? Learn it today, now. That is our game. Otherwise, tomorrow would never come in your life. And tomorrow, had you already worked for it, then you should not be asking this question. All these lecture, there's not a PDF file. This is a MCQ online version of the book. If you have not bothered to subscribe, go there and subscribe to it. You already have paid 15,000 rupees. Good. So don't think of tomorrow. Try to remember it now Otherwise, it never happen in the life. And we do share all the video links to all the students whosoever has joined this class. Okay. So, metamorphosis of Narcissus. Now, this image look very complex, and there are various websites which will explain to you about Dali. I have invested roughly around 3,000 rupees in one of a coffee table book. There's only one important book on the Dali which cost roughly around 3,000 rupees. That explain more or less all his work. All means all. I have gone through various books here and there, and I found that is the best one. If you ever wanted to invest into it, it is by the same publication, Taschan. So this is the famous one, though there are some melting of time and other printing also famous, but I'm just at some point those will also figure it out. So metamorphosis is already covered. Now this is a little French name, first one, and then I have transcribed into the English version also. I don't know which one they will ask, but it is a famous painting. So the name of the book is this publication. You need to remember Taschan. Just give me a moment. I think the books are inside, so I will not be able to dig out immediately. It's I'll just try to write it down here. Taschan. Taschan is the name of the publication. It's a German publication, and they specialize in the books of painting. Normally, they have a series of 1100 rupees series, 11, 12, 1200, 1300 mainly. I normally buy those books, but sometime I feel that I should buy some other coffee table books. So Dali's book is the best they have published. It is a little expensive, 3,000 rupees. The complete work of Dali, where you will find all high resolution images that you can find on the internet also, but explanations about the painting. And if you ever want to invest 3,000 rupees into the Dali's work, it is worth. Okay. So the brothel of Avignon. Somebody will pronounce Avignon or something. So this Mademoiselle the Avignon is another French name, and this is the English translation. What they will ask, I don't know. They should be asking English, because this brothel word will qualify what the painting they are talking about. Not very often I have seen some other painting in which they are discussing brothel. So this is the famous one, again by the Picasso. I'll just enlarge this painting. So you could see this style. This is a very Picasso style. Picasso belongs to a particular art movement, everybody knows. So we'll move further. Okay. This is really a very cute painting. Cute, why I'm using the word cute? Because I've seen many paintings, these two paintings which we are going to talk about quickly, more or less they are similar kind of a style. And also because if the style is similar, the painter should also be similar. It's a common sense. You could feel these two paintings, 24 and 25. They look dark background, first of all, and then you see somebody is sitting on the ground level, somebody is just standing, and then there's a table. Then I'll just prayer before meal. This painting is also being used very often on the stamp. So you can see this little kid sitting over there on a chair. There's another kid over there, and this mother is serving the meal. And you can see this folding of hand over here. So prayer before meal is a painting. And as I said, is the same painter, Chardin, Jean-Simon Chardin. There's a little question mark here inside, so this is by mistake. So Jean-Simon Chardin is a painter who worked mainly, many of the painters never painted these working class people. So this painter had this particular soft corner for working class. So he selected these kind of subject to work upon. So the prayer before meal is the painting. As I said, that this painting is also used on the stamp by some country when they wanted to pay some tribute to a painter or something like that. So it was Chardin's painting. Again, here's a different kind of painting by the same guy, laundress. So it's a laundry you could feel, and you can see this little kid blowing this small balloon kind of a thing, which we do as a child. We dip something into a soap, and then you can blow that thing, and you can see this small blow. And in the back side also, you could see this open area where somebody is putting the cloth over there on a hanger to, and in the foreground, obviously, you could see this detailed in terms of somebody is washing. So this is another painting which is famous by the same painter. So you need to remember the name, as I said, the laundress by the Chardin. Again, first name you may not be able to remember, but if you remember the Chardin, you should be able to connect. Okay. Again, Bruegel, Hunter in the Snow. This is a very detailed painting. When you look into the high resolution, you will be able to find out what exactly is going on in the background. And he's really worked at a various level. What happens in the front, then the middle, foreground, and background, and that. So it's quite a detailed painting to talk about. So this is one of the famous one, Hunters in the Snow, again by Bruegel. Okay, this is a painting which I have seen very often in top 50 paintings of the world. Sometimes this particular painting is also in the top 20 painting also, but top 20, top 50, top 100, somewhere very often I've seen this Paris street rain. This is not a very good image, but let me just figure it out here for you. Okay, so this much high resolution you have over here, and you could see how the part of this umbrella is being given in the foreground. Not completely the man is there. This is a very important from the those who are from cinematography point of view, cinematographers course who are appearing for. Always everything will not be shown complete. Cutting of an image has its own aesthetic, that you cut partially a image and then you include rest of the people completely. So in the foreground, if you look into this image, foreground you see on the right side, the man with the hat partially being covered. 2/3 of his umbrella is being covered, then this couple and all that. So this is again Gustave Caillebotte is the painter. So how this name need to be pronounced? Remember this, Gustave Caillebotte. Very important painter. There are more than 100 paintings are there. We have selected some 20 painting when we will discuss some individual painters, but this is the one which is most famous. So from the examination point of view, we are talking about this thing. By mistake here, the painting is not there, but Metropolis, when you look at the Metropolis painting, immediately you know who is this guy. Otto Dix is a painter. Most of his books are expensive. If even the Taschen's publication is not this 1100 rupees, it's some 2000 rupees or something. So Otto Dix is another expensive painter in terms of the books I'm talking about, otherwise also. So Metropolis is a painting. Unfortunately, it is not here, but this is the way question would be asked. Actually, this is the ideal way of formulating questions over here also. First image should be blank, and then I should be showing you the image. But anyway, someday or other, you will remember these names also. Metropolis is also a film by Fritz Lang. But here it is a painting. So don't get confused. Painting Metropolis, Otto Dix. This name, first time always sounds strange. Why? Because first time, whatever name you will hear, they will sound strange. But once you get into a painter, every day you spend some 1 hour looking into his work, then you will get familiar. Slowly, you will be able to quickly able to recollect. As I said, this is a little expensive painter. This 1100 business is somewhere around 2000 or something. Or maybe 1100 edition is there, I don't remember. But again, a very typical style of his work. This particular painting has a very interesting style. Okay. I'll just quickly see if I can find for you on the internet. Okay. This is the painting, center one. And then they have done a bifurcation thing. You can see this musical instrument, guy playing saxophone. This is not a very good image, but if you just 1 second only. Okay, this would be a better image. Okay, so again, not a very high resolution here, but let's see. Okay, this is the one. But if you see the high resolution image, you will find better. They have just 3 panels are there. All more or less similar thing. This Wikipedia page, as I was talking about, there's a art Wikipedia is also there, so you can easily figure it out over there. Okay. So Metropolis, again coming to, when we talk about some other European painters, some painting, like yesterday, there's a film festival was going on in Delhi at a institute, de la Cervantes, which is a Spanish language institute. And when the painter would come, we will also talk about that. So sometime you see a particular painting in these places also. So you know that is a Velazquez, not here one, which I'm talking about. So when you go down at the 0 level, then you see the painting of Velazquez, which is one of the, again, a star painter from Spain. But here it's a different painting. Let me just quickly show you this image. Okay. So this is the image, and if you pick up the Vermeer's 3 images in terms of the popular images, so this is a one which is very often you will see very detailed in terms of lighting and texture and other things. So this is a famous painting. Name of this painting is called Allegory of Painting or Art of Painting also. There are 2 different names for this painting. Sometimes somebody says Allegory of Painting, or somebody would say Art of Painting. It's the name of the painting itself. Okay, so don't get confused. So Vermeer. Then another most famous painting of the Vermeer is this girl with the pearl ring. A girl with a spelling, there's a little mistake here. Girl with a pearl earring. Very often you will see the caricature of this painting. And again, all more or less complete pitch black background you can see, in this blue color is very attractive. And many people I have seen caricature and making fun of this painting and using this painting for different ideas. So when we talk about Vermeer is another painter whose work you can see a lot of cracks in the reproduction, not being able to retain its original thing because time period in which he worked. But again, a star painter. Okay, so we'll go to next level. If I would choose, or rather anyone would choose, there was a famous film also with this same name, Girl with a Pearl Earring. If so far whatever we have discussed is one simple question, easiest question I'm talking about, which is in terms of popularity, if the examiner has to choose, it will be a girl with a pearl earring, because it's the most popular image you will come across. Okay, again, this is another painting, which is a famous painting by Picasso, Guernica, and this has a lot of when he made this painting, why he made this particular painting, there's a history behind it, but we will not go into it. We will just simply remember the name of this painting and the painter. So name is called Guernica and Picasso. And this is size also, you can see this is a horizontal painting. If you recollect another painter, Goa, Goya, where also the horizontal painting scale was there. This is also one of the largest scale in terms of the size of the painting. Okay, this is another equally famous painting by Picasso. Girl Before a Mirror. So very Picasso style, and as I said, that famous in terms of the name. So Girl Before a Mirror is another famous painting and easy to remember also. Girl Before a Mirror, Picasso. Very often I have seen this particular painting also into list of top 20 or top 30, or everybody has their way of choosing their own images. So this gypsy girl, let me just show you this complete one. So this is the painting. You could see the smile on the face of this girl and very stylized kind of drawing. So this is the short name is easy to remember, Hals, Hals. So Franz Hals is the painter, and easy to remember is Hals. We have included a couple of other painting of the same painter here, around 10. But next time when we will discuss, I will refine that section because I have included a little more than 20 in some of them, which is not required from the examination point of view, because these lectures are to help you to correct the exam, not to become an expert of painting. Now, the most famous painting after the girl with the pearl ring is Liberty Leading the People. The big size image is there in the museum whenever if you ever get a chance to see the museum. And Liberty Leading the People is Eugenie Delacroix. It's a very Frenchish name. Delacroix is, that's how it looked like. Where is that? Okay, here. In between, this question mark has come by mistake. Eugene Delacroix. So this is another most famous painting along with other painting we have talked about. And the size of this painting is also very big, almost like a wall. Half of the wall would be covered. So another great painting from the scale as well as detailing. Liberty Leading the People. Okay. Dreams of a Sunday Afternoon in the Almeida Park. I'll show you the image first. Okay. So here you could not be able to figure it out. It's the most longer in terms of this aspect ratio, height versus width. This is the most strange kind of aspect ratio. Why? Because so many peoples are there. So many peoples are there is going to be horizontal. And if you look into the detail later on at some point, you will also find the Frida Kahlo is there in this particular painting. So if Frida Kahlo is there in this painting, obviously it is a Diego Rivera. Diego Rivera's painting. This is another famous painting by the same painter. Dreams of a Sunday Afternoon in Almeida Park. If you look into the large image sometime, you will enjoy this particular image. The balcony. Okay. So you can see this image is also used very often, I have seen. And there's another equally important painter. It's called Manet, M-A-N-E-T. So the balcony by Manet. Somebody will read Manet, somebody will read something. It doesn't matter as long as you remember the name of the painting, and whenever somebody will show you, particularly for orientation program, they can pick up any of the image and show you and ask you the name of the painter. Or even if they ask you the name of the painter, they'll say what is so special about it. Now, when we are moving to next painting, we will talk about what is so special about it. So next one is, as I was talking about, Spanish painter, this Velázquez, Diego Velázquez. Now this painting is a little more complex because on the back side also there are two more paintings which you can't see it in this one. And this little girl and the doggy and this painter, it is supposed to be Velazak himself who is painting these people on this large canvas on the left side, you can see. So this painting, if you ever go to in Delhi at the Culture Center of Spanish Embassy, you will see this painting over there. So that's how this painting is so important. So what you need to remember is the name. So the now detail of the lower half depicting the family of the Phillips, this. So name of the painting is Las Meninas. So it's maybe a little difficult to remember, but sometime you have to remember. As I said, this is displayed over there. So it's again a very important painter, Velazak, and expensive books. His books are very expensive on the internet if you find. But this Taschen is the series which I strongly recommend. If you ever wanted to invest 1100 or 1200 rupees, you should keep investing. Some 60, 70 books are there on the various painters. Okay. Again, a very well-known image. Very often you will come to know this image by this painter called, okay, this image first we will talk about. Now you could see this letter and this person in this pose. So, Death of David. Oh, sorry, the Death of Marat is a painter is called David. And his full name is Jacques Louis David, but people remember him as a David. So Death of Marat is the name of the painting, and it's a vertical composition, not square or horizontal, but it's a vertical composition. Very often you will see this among the top 20 or top 30 or top 50 images, and David's, this painting would be there always. 39. Death and Fire. Now you may feel that is what is so great about this painting and all that, but it takes time to figure it out why certain painting became famous or well-known. But Paul Klee is a painter who painted in this particular style. And as I said, there's a film also on Paul Klee. And Death and Fire is one of the painting which you will very often see among the list of the painters. Okay. Now, one of my favorite painter is Chirco, Giorgio di Chirco, the Red Tower. This particular image is used on the various countries all over the world when they want to pay tribute to the Chirco, and very surrealistic kind of a painter. So this is the image which I was talking to you. And for, again, a very difficult painter to understand his paintings as a particular style of doing. And as I said, that mainly the surrealistic painter, whosoever we talk about, and very expensive books of the Chirco you will on the internet if you wanted to search over there. So this is the one which is I have seen very often, the Red Tower, red balloon, and then the Red Tower. Sometime you need to remember something like that. So Red Tower is by Chirco. Giorgio di Chirco is his full name. We have listed over here among the various other things. Then again, we have included another name, another famous painting by the same guy, because you could feel the similarity over here also. It's called Love Song. This is another famous painting of the painter. And you could see that ball and hand gloves. Same guy, Giorgio di Chirco. As I said, this painting is also used on the stamp by various countries whenever they wanted to pay tribute to this painter. Okay. Dance at the Mall de la Gelette. This is also another painting which you will see very often on the list of 100 painters and etc. etc. And is Renoir. Renoir has a particular style of doing his painting. His son became also a famous filmmaker, Jean Renoir, and So this is Pierre Auguste Renoir. There's a difference between Jean Renoir is the son and Pierre Auguste Renoir is the father. So dance at the Moulin de la Galette, and this is one of the most famous painting of Renoir. We'll move to another painting. Everybody knows about this particular painting, which I'm going to show you. Creation of Adam, and very often Michelangelo, whenever they talk about this particular painting. So you need to remember the name. It's a mural part, Creation of Adam. Okay. This is another painting which is a little more stylish, I would say. But very often we talk about this painting by Hubert Gustave, The Studio. So you could see this painting and this lady and other people over here, and this little kid also, and then this. Okay, The Studio. Painting is called The Studio, and Hubert Gustave is the painter. Cafe Terrace at Night. Whenever we talk about the Van Gogh, this is another painting which crops up on and off when we talk about the top 100 painting. So I have seen diary covers by this, some Nightingale is the publication. If you wanted to buy some diary, some good diary and a little expensive diary or some book, notebook, Nightingale is the publication. So Nightingale have used this particular painting on the diaries very often. I have seen it, and some other people also. So Cafe Terrace at Night. This is the one. There's a particular film by Kurosawa called The Dreams, and in which they have used various paintings alive, making various paintings alive of Van Gogh. So they can ask, if they wanted to ask a difficult question, which film is being made by a famous director on the paintings of Van Gogh, then it will be Dream by Kurosawa. I'm just often telling you that's equally important a question. It is a Kurosawa's film. It is Martin Scorsese funding that film. Not only funding that film, but also acting in the film, and of course the Van Gogh. Okay. So now please pay attention to this long name. Judith and her maidservant with the head of Holofernes. Now this is another very stylish painter in terms of the painting, but more important is the style in which he has used the images. Let me just quickly first make this enlarged. Now there's a lady called Artemisia Gentileschi. This is a difficult name to remember. Artemisia Gentileschi is a very good-looking women painter herself. Artemisia Gentileschi, and whenever we talk about the top 10 painters of the women painters, the Artemisia's name is always comes among top 3, top 4, etc. So Artemisia Gentileschi is the painter, and you could see this shadow, big shadow on the face of this lady. And then you can see this lamp. So it's a kind of a source lighting, we call it in cinematography. And that's it. So there's another famous painting by Artemisia. This is a name. It's a women painter, remember. And the good idea is later on, once the class is over, you go and do a search and all that. So gentlemen, it's 9:30. I want my throat to have a little rest. So we'll meet after 10 minutes. It's 9:30. We'll meet at a 9:40. Chandan? Okay, guys, we are back. So we were talking about the Artemisia Gentileschi, and we'll move. Is the Italian actress? Oh, sorry, a painter, and very gorgeous to look at. She has also made her own portraits. So if somebody would be interested, you can go and figure it out. Okay, Leonardo da Vinci, everybody knows, and this is a famous painting, Annunciation. You can look at it, the details. Still preserved very well. Now, while talking to you people, I realize that they can also ask you a question which will be a little difficult. That which among the following is having a largest aspect ratio of 1:2, 2.3, or 1:3, or something like that. So they might put three names like up there. If you look at it carefully, this particular painting, the Judith and her maid servant with the head of Helforn. So this is a very long name and is a vertical format. Similarly, Starry Night is a vertical format. But here the studio is a horizontal format. Again, a largest horizontal format in terms of aspect ratio. So they may ask something like that also. As I said, that some of the top 50 paintings or 100 paintings are in which museum? That will be a little more tricky for you people. But I have left not each and everything I'm going to do it. I leave something for you people also. Those who are hardworking people, they will work themselves also, not only depend upon narration. I've done quite a lot, but you also need to do something. So this question can also be asked, which museum, which particular painting is there? So now you will say, कि सर हम तो यहाँ पे बैठ के म्यूजियमों के नाम ही याद करते रहे. FTI जाना तो करना पड़ेगा भैया. सो रहे हो तुम लोग अभी तक? जागो. High time to wake up. कुछ भी कर सकते हैं वो लोग, सरकारी लोग हैं, कुछ भी पूछ सकते हैं. और एक वर्ल्ड में फेमस पेंटिंग अगर 100 है तो म्यूजियम भी 100 से ज्यादा है. बट लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल टॉप 10 म्यूजियम्स. Top 10 museums would have best of the work of painting. कम से कम 10 का तो पता ही होना चाहिए, बाकी ना भी हो तो चल जाएगा. जैसे मेट्रोपॉलिटन म्यूजियम ऑफ आर्ट यूएस, उसमें बड़ा खतरनाक पेंटिंग उन लोगों ने प्रिजर्व की हुई है. इंडिया में कोई पेंटिंग प्रिजर्व होती नहीं है. अपनी पेंटिंग प्रिजर्व कर ले बहुत है. वर्ल्ड कलेक्शन तो बहुत बड़ी बात है इंडियन लोगों की. तो ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड government spent a lot of money for the preservation and acquisition of art. Not preservation only, but acquisition. Acquisition is more important. Most of the European paintings, or rather I would say world important paintings, are not in Europe but in US. So government, they are funded by government, by the way. Metropolitan Museum जो है government funded museum है. हाँ जी, नीचे आ जाते हैं थोड़ा सा. This is a painting which I like a lot, and it's very strange painter, not so popular among the painters, but somehow I like this painter, Anderson. And this painting is, you can look at this painting, this lady, and there's a small kind of this, what should I say, in the central thing, not a nadi or something, but it is a small lane which this lady is sitting over there. And the back side also you see these working class people basically. So this is one of the famous painter from Sweden, and the painting is called Our Daily Bread. There's a famous also a documentary called Our Daily Bread. So it's a documentary which is shown into the film FTI. When you join a course or maybe during the time of orientation, they might show you this documentary called Our Daily Bread. And it's a documentary or fiction film, I don't remember, but maybe it is a fiction film and a short fiction film, Our Daily Bread. So from now I am thinking that maybe the filmmaker would have inspired from this painting called Our Daily Bread from Swedish painter Anderson. Sweden don't have many popular painters, for strangely, but it is basically Dutch, French, Spanish. Sweden don't have so many people, but this man is famous, Anderson. Okay. Now this is another equally important painting. A dual at ordnance. I'll just click and I could show. Now you can easily recognize the style. Every painter has his own style, and you should be able to recognize. This is a Gustav Kubert, which we have already shown, and we have also mentioned that he worked for the working class people. So you could see this working class community on the right side. So this is another horizontal painting, which is again quite famous, I would say. Okay, we'll move to another guy. Edgar Degas is another painter which is among the star painter, and you may not have heard, like you must have heard about Cezanne, Vinci, and other people, but those who are from BFA or something like that, they will appreciate what I'm saying. So, a cotton office in the Orleans. This is an image, and this is Edgar Degas also has painted some dance painting also, but this is the one which I wanted to include, and not only I want to include, but many other people have included this. So my decision is not what I like. My decision is what other likes. And I try to explore why did they like this particular painting and why it is among the top 100 paintings by various list available on the internet. And I also told you my another strange reason to include a painting, which is in the list of stamp. If a country wanted to pay tribute to this particular painter, and if you include this particular painting, it means this painting is important. So Edgar Degas, easy to remember name, a cotton office in New Orleans. Okay, so we'll move a little further. This is another painting which very often you will encounter here and there. And Edward Manet, a bar at the Folies Burgess. This is a little French name, but you could see the detail of the wine and people in the background. It's a mirror reflection, remember, because it's a bar. You could feel this backside of this lady also from here, how she looked like. And obviously in the mirror, you could see the entire bar. So it's a depth, how the depth is being created in this particular. This could be asked those people who are appearing in a cinematography course, that what is so important about this painting from the photography point of view. So always you say color, composition, but then as I said, there's something very specific, you know. So that is a mirror is being used. Mirror is, I'm very fascinated with this term called mirror. Since it was a Spanish embassy yesterday, Culture Center. So Carlos Saura is a filmmaker who has done lot of means 6-7 films on the dance, on the flamenco, and in those flamenco dance films, 2 or 3 films are shot by Vittorio Storaro, who is a 3-time Oscar-winning cinematographer from Italy, one of the star cinematographer. Most of his work is with Bernardo Bertolucci. So in Carlos Saura's film, you see the use of a mirror in the dance. That's how he create a depth. If you go to a dance academy, if the room is small even, there's another reason why there is a mirror, because the room look bigger. So there's a use of mirror in this particular painting. That's something very, very important from cinematography point of view. A bar at the Folies Burgess. So this is the name you need to remember. Okay. Now going again to, this is 51. Okay. So we have covered 51 question. Now this is a very specific style of Paul Gauguin. Paul Gauguin is another famous painter. Now this name is also very strange. Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we going? It's a long, strange name. Where do we come from? What are we? Where we are going? So there are 3 sentences name, long name, and it's easy to remember this where, and come and go, and etc. etc. So they will not ask you fill in the blank by showing this painting. And even if they ask, you can roughly, at least you can write down where do we come from, basic thing. What are we? Second thing. Where are we going? Third thing. So Paul Gauguin, this is a famous painting by Paul Gauguin. So this is we have included first time one painting of this guy. Moving to now, this is my favorite painting because this is so detailed, so much activities are there in this painting. Marriage at Cana. We should look at much more high resolution image of this and dig out each and every corner what is happening over here. Okay. So Paulo Vernice is the painter of this painting, and it's a very, very detailed painting. Every damn thing, if you see in a one corner or two people or three people, something else is happening or something is going on. So everybody is busy in doing something. So this is a strange name little bit. First time you may be hearing it. And Paulo Vernice is the painter, and Marriage at Cana. It's easy to remember. Marriage is something which in India is very popular. The Marriage at Cana is Paulo Vernice. Okay. Another very famous painting. Why I will talk about it? Because this is there's a movement in art called pointillism. Those people who have carefully seen those videos which I did at 5 days short crash course. There are a series of 5 days crash course which I did, and you must be having a video, all of you. So who made the famous painting is Sunday on La Grande Jetty. So it is, as I said, that pointillism. George Seurat, he's considered a pioneer, and one of the, there are 3-4 more people who joined this pointillism business. And I'm sure that this idea of pointillism would have come from a color photograph, which I'm not sure at that time the color photography was existing or not. But if it was existing, then if you blow up a photograph of a high resolution image, photograph taken with a high speed ASA, say for example 800 or 1600, I'm talking about long back when ASA was film speed as a fixed film speed of a 36 frame, and then you blow up that photograph, you will see this kind of image. Even today, if the resolution of a flex is not that great, then you could see this small point kind of thing. So pointillism is an important art movement, and George Seurat is considered as a pioneer. And this is the painting which people very often talk about. Is Sunday on La Grande Jetty. Hanji. Mary Cassatt is American painter, and this child bath is one of the famous painting by this lady. Very, very popular among American painter. Mary Cassatt is a women painter, remember? And this little kiddie who is having a bath. Most of his Mary Cassatt's work is like that. We will be discussing some more painting at some point if there is a time. But at least I am giving you quick, because we have a commitment of 10 classes only. And I'm not sure how many classes are already over. 7 or 8 are already over. So 10 classes we need to give. Rest of the material is here. We'll keep updating. So this is my favorite painting also. And you could see the sober color in terms of pastel look, not very vibrant colors. And this kid is having this bath in this tub. This is a very realistic painter. And Police Warsaw is one of his famous painting. And again, is a French guy, Jean-Léon Germont. Jean-Léon Germont. And it's a very, very detailed painting when you look at it in a high resolution image. And you could see these ladies in the white and this colorful thing and this people sitting up there and looking at it and all that. So it's very realistic painting. And you could see the detail of this patch of the light falling here and there. From cinematography point of view, I'm talking about people in the shade, people in the direct sunlight over there. Here, some patches of light are falling a little bit here and there. So all these printers has a very great aesthetic sense of the lighting. So without lighting sense, you can't have a great painting. Whatever style you adopt, the size, but this sense of lighting has to be there. So Police Warsaw is the name of the painting. We'll move a little further. This is another working class painting. Cleaner. It's not a gleaners, it is a cleaners. It's a mistake. I'll correct it. Let me write down. So it is a painting by Millet, and Jean-François Millet is the name of the painter. And this is also again a very popular painting. Very often you see these working class people, whenever somebody, also they can ask sometime, which among the painter is well known for painting the working class people. So Jean-François Millet is the one, and this painting you will very often come across. Whenever we talk about American painters, and this painting always pops up here and there, but that's the way it is. And Grant Wood is the name of the painting. This painting is used very often on the stamps. I've seen it very often. So this is the image, and this painting is called American Gothic. It's equally important, a painting from the examination point of view. American Gothic, who made the American Gothic? So now everybody knows Grant Wood. Moving to another, Birth of Venus, one of the biggest size of a painting. It's in this particular painting is in Italy, and there's a place called River to River Film Festival in Florence. Florence has a big museum over there. I'm forgetting the name of that museum, where this painting is being preserved. And Sandro Botticelli is the painter. Birth of a Venus, very large size painting preserved in Florence. From the examination point of view, Birth of a Venus is a very, very important painting. If I need to choose 4 paintings which I would put into the exam, from the popularity point of view, Birth of Venus would be one by Sandro Botticelli. Primavera is another painting which is equally important, and is the same painter, Sandro Botticelli, but not that famous like the Birth of a Venus. But again, it is also important. So some may like this painting, some may not like Birth of a Venus, but Birth of Venus is Birth of a Venus. Okay. As I said, all these paintings are important. List, not from the ranking point of view, which is at a 60 or 61. Everybody has their own priority. So whenever we talk about Leonardo da Vinci, Lady with an Ermine is important painting. You can have a look at it. So Leonardo da Vinci is one of the star painters, and hence this painting is equally important. Marc Chagall is another painter which is important in the history of 100 top painters. Everywhere you see this name called Marc Chagall. And Marc Chagall work is being reproduced on the stamps. As I said, my criteria is a stamp. If some painter is important, which painting of that particular painter would be used by? So white crucifixion is the name. You could see this white thing happening over here, and crucifixion is crucifixion. So white crucifixion is one of the most important painting of Marc Chagall. Okay. Now rehearsal on stage. As I said earlier, that there are painters who are famous for certain thing. So I just mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Degas, Edgar Degas, rehearsal on stage. Again, famous painting by Edgar Degas. Okay. George Clive and his family with an Indian maid. Where these Indians are coming over here is also strange, but whatever is the reason, but this Indian lady is there. So Joshua Renaud, another important painter, Joshua Renaud. Let me show you the large painting. So you could see this little kiddie who's getting ready, and this lady is also helping, standing on this chair. So George Clive and his family with an Indian maid. Whenever we talk about Reynolds, people just remember the name Reynolds. First name is not very popular. Reynolds is among 100 painters. So this is how this look like. I've shown you this particular painting. So we'll move to another painting. The hay veins. Let me just quickly show you the painting first, then. Okay. Again, this is also, figure it out, among the 100 painters, a little detailed painting in terms of the landscape and all that. So John Constable is the name of this person. It's a little difficult to remember. So, but you have to. So John Constable is the name of this painter. Let me see if there is another. No, it's not. Just first image is here. Now, because these names, earlier, they were put first, and this is the way you need to get practiced about the name. This is the ideal way of framing a question, because first image should be a neutral image, just to give you the idea of a section, but that's the way it is. So this is the way you need to remember the name. Is little difficult, but I have, as I said, I have selected only the important people, not every Tom, Dick and Harry. So in Greece, you need to remember this last word. Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres is the name of the painter, and Pion Balthar is the another painting which is famous. Whenever we talk about Ingres, we mention about this particular painting. You could see a nude woman from backside, and detailed of this white sheet and other details over there, and only very muted red is being used to hold the hairs. But again, Ingres is one of the famous painter. I have given the full name so that you should not become confused. Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres. Okay. Now another most famous painting among the top 10 world's painting is Arnolfini portrait. Anybody who has some idea about the world of painting of Jan van Eyck? There are a couple of Jan van Eyck. So the first name is not common, but the third part of the name is not common. So Jan van Eyck is the name, and if you find a high resolution image, then there's a lot of things happening over there. Backside there's a mirror, and then this little puppy is there, then sandal, and this lady is pregnant. So Jan van Eyck, E-Y-C-K, is the name of the painter, and the name of the painting is called Arnolfini portrait. Very important question from examination point of view. Please remember this one. Okay. Who made the famous painting Autumn Rhythm? Now this look very abstract, but there are painters which you need to remember. At least I picked up only this one, because somewhere or other, whenever I come across these 100 painters, 100 paintings, this painting will figure it out. American painter Jackson Pollock is the name, and you need to remember this Autumn Rhythm. Is easy to remember the rhythm word, and autumn. Number 30 is by mistake. Forget about this number 30. Autumn Rhythm. Okay. So we move a little further. Just give me a moment. Now again, we had another painter called Turner. So Turner, J.M.W. Turner is the name of this painter. There are 2-3 paintings we have included of this painter, and this is the one, the Fighting Tamarind. So you could see this ship and other thing, and you could see this sunset feel over there. So you need to remember this name called J.M.W. Turner. Turner, if you remember, that is more than enough. But if you could remember the full name, it's fine. If you can't, it's okay, no problem. Okay, we move. Another famous painting by this guy. Same guy we will come across later on, but immediately there is another painting. Red interiors, still life on a blue table. I repeat, red interior, still life on a blue table. Matisse, Henry Matisse. We have already covered one particular painting of the Henry Matisse, and this is the second one which we are covering here. So you could easily remember this name. Still life. Red interior, still life on a blue table. Okay. So the ambassador. Let me show you the image. This is another very, very important painting. Will very often pop up among this list of 100 people. And I have also this the painting appreciation 2-3 books, and this painting is very often pops up, the ambassadors. And this name is called Hans Holbein the Younger. This is the name of the painter. You need to remember this name. Here it is. Hans Holbein the Younger is the name of the painter, and the painting is called The Ambassador. We are just talking about the 100 important painting. We are not covering the 1001. But ideally speaking, if you say my profession is very good about painting, you should need to remember 1000 names. Okay. Now, till now, earlier when we would do the first rounding, we didn't put each and everything over the name for the main painting. So 72, question number 72. Already the name is being given over there. The artist studio. We have already covered. By mistake, it has again come up. Okay, the kiss. Now this man, you need to remember for some other reason. I'll tell you why. He is the man who uses either the vegetables, fruits to make the human figures. Most of his work, Archimboldo is the name, Arcimboldo, something like that. Giuseppe Archimboldo, again Italian guy, who has a series of spring, summer, etc. 4 spring, summer, winter. There are a series of painting by this guy who uses these flowers, fruits, vegetable to make the human figure. So the spring, just the spring name is here, and Archimboldo is the name of the painter. Okay. So we have not been able to add some other thing because till here it was done up. After that, we were not able to do it, but we will do it at some point. But you need to remember the name, and easily should be. So Gito is another popular painter of that time, and the Lamentation of Christ is his famous painting. You could see this. Is a very old, long back painter of 16th or 17th century. I don't remember the exact year, but in the beginning of the time when the painting started becoming important, Gito belongs to that era. So this is the only painting which we have covered over here. Moving further, the Red Cana, Giorgio O'Keeffe, again a women painter, remember? And this is a famous painting by this painter. So Giorgio O'Keeffe is a women painter, remember? The name is, you will not be able to immediately remember. Earlier we have mentioned the Artemisia Gentilisi, and then there's another lady, and Mary Casata, and this Giorgio O'Keeffe. We are talking about the third lady. In fact, in between there was another lady from Japan, the Wave, which we discussed, and this is the fourth women painter we have included over here. Frida Kahlo is the first time we are including here, and Without Hope, I mean, you can see is a very stylistic painter, and there's a feature film made on her life. So Without Hope is a very depressing painting, but that's the way it is. Frida Kahlo, Without Hope. The 3rd of May by Goya, again a revolutionary painting where you could see these people are being gunned down, and very often you will see this painting being discussed. And also, as I said, that there's a film exists on the life of Goya. Berlin street scene. Again, Kirchner is another expensive painter, Ernest Ludwig Kirchner. And one of the famous painting is this one. Very stylish painter in terms of the way he made those paintings. Okay, Edward Hopper. Edward Hopper, we have included around 20 painting of this painter, American painter. And Nighthawk is, this is the one where you see very often when any book on this guy, you will come to know. Then Nighthawk is the one which is very often discussed. Quickly we'll see, we can cover rest of the thing also today. Okay. Waterloo Pond by Monet. Again, a very large scale painting in terms of the size. There's a series of painting by Monet, and this is one of them. You could see these lilies. Olympia by, again, Edward Monet. You could see this black lady over here and a nude lady lying. Dancing classes, again, Edward Degas. Dance means Degas, remember. Famous painting on the dance are by this guy only. Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog. My 4th choice, if I need to choose 4 paintings which are popular. Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog would be the one by Caspar David Friedrich. Remember this name, a very famous painting. Very often you will see this painting. Very often means among top 10 painting, you will always, many people have included this because of this fog and perspective. There's a lot of things to discuss about this painting, but we are not here to discuss the painting, but it is just the idea. So Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog, Caspar David Friedrich. Supper at Emmaus, Caravaggio. Caravaggio is known for source lighting. Caravaggio is known for source lighting, and Supper at Emmaus is one of the painting I've included over here. You could feel the high contrast images in the painting. There are 2-3 more painting by the same guy. This is also David with the Head of Goliath, is again Caravaggio. Equally famous painting of the Caravaggio. If you recollect, there was few months back, there was some videos which got viral over there where they went to some mall in the Amsterdam and recreated these paintings by the live actors. Some live actors paused from here and there to a particular position, and with a similar kind of pose, they created the painting. So Caravaggio's 1 or 2 paintings were created in that series of giving awareness of coming to museum and enjoying those paintings. So St. George in his study, again by Caravaggio. I've included 3-4 things. You can see the high contrast images, and Caravaggio's work is also very highly regarded. The Entombment of Christ, again by Caravaggio. I've included a couple of more things. This is the painting which was recreated in that museum thing which I was talking about in the Amsterdam, where a couple of artists from some theater company dressed up and in this particular style, and then came to a particular position and posed like this, and somebody clicked them. So that was a way of creating awareness about the museum. That was a very interesting idea. You will see Caravaggio's painting coming alive in a mall. You might find those videos over there. Okay. So again, Camille Pissarro is another important painter, and his style is also very interesting. The Garden of Toulouse on a winter afternoon. This is the painting. You could see how detailed it is, very small people, very long shot. It takes a lot of time to make such kind of painting where you get the feel of the various people, very small in terms of the height and scale. Extreme long shot. These kind of painting are very rare to find in which extreme long shot is there, because you need to work very hard on the small detail. You just can't paint. Sky is still fine to make it. But if you look at this foreground of this people, small people, group of 4, 5, is little quite a nightmare for a painter to make it. So Camille Pissarro, when you talk about, this is a painting, Garden of Toulouse on a winter afternoon, is being discussed. I have also mentioned the 1899, so that to give you idea that this painter is not very old one. Now here you could see this 1561. So this is the only painting which I come across and included here among the international famous paintings from India. And Akbar's Adventure with the Elephant, Hawaii, in 5061. You can see the timing also. And these are the people who have made this painting called Baswan and Chitar. So it was a time when different kind of India has ruler from Islam. So they also patronized the painting in those days, but not so much famous, particularly the miniature work and all. So this is the only painting which I come across, which I can call it as a famous painting among the 100 important painters. So who made the famous painting Self-Portrait of La Pittura? Again, the same lady, Artemisia Gentileschi. It's a self-portrait of herself. Charles I on horseback. Again, Anthony van Dyck. These Van Dyck and all these are Dutch names basically. So this is one of the famous painting by this guy. Marilyn. Andy Warhol is most controversial name, and this is one of the most famous painting by him, where Marilyn Monroe is being used in this high contrast image style. This is the way Andy Warhol look like. The Great Piece of Turf. Again, Durer. First name is maybe difficult to remember. Durer is another important painter. Great Piece of Turf. This particular painting, if you look into the high resolution image, you'll see how great detail he has gone into making this painting. It looked like a photograph. You see the high resolution image later on after the class of this today's class. You will see how great detail he has gone into this particular thing. One of the book which I have about this, how to read the painting, this particular image is being used to explain the style of Durer in terms of the detailing. So whenever we talk about the detailing in a painting, Durer's work is remembered. And this particular painting is the most famous one, the Great Piece of Turf. Judith Slaying Horneff, same guy, a lady, Artemisia Gentileschi. Again, very violent kind of a painting, but, and again, the source light and high contrast you could see. Again, Anthony van Dyck, Queen Maria with St. Jerry Hudson and a monkey. Now you could see this particular painting where the little kid is holding this monkey over there, and this lady is there, and then you see the golden thing. So there was a time when this kind of portrait were very popular among the royal people. And Anthony van Dyck is also an important painter for among royal families who painted the royal people normally. So this is another painting which we have included here. It's called Portrait of Isabella Brandt. These two paintings we have included here. Moving to the 98, and here you could see that new painter we have included over here. It's called the Baptist Baptism of Christ, again 1435 to 1480. And why we have included this name? Sometimes it's easier to remember. The first time we are introducing this painter, Andreas del Versace. The Sea, again 1891. And let me just show you the painting. Oh, sorry. Where is the painting? Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay. So it's a Russian painting, and Alexander, some surname I can't remember. So Alexander, this Jimsky is the painter. Again, from Russia, I thought include of someone, so I did this one. And then Allegory of Venus and the Cupid. Everybody knows this particular painter, and this is how he looked like. And this is the painting. Very often you will see this guy, an allegory with a Venus and Cupid. Bronzino is his name. First name you may not remember, but second name you need to remember, Bronzino. Bronzino is very popular painter of his time. And as I said, 1500 is a time when paintings were taking the shape in terms of thing. So these are the 100 paintings for today. If somebody has a question, you can quickly ask. If you don't have a question, no need to ask. Most of the time, I keep every day 3 mails when the exam is happening. It's very simple answer. They are government people. They are sleeping. Whenever they will wake up, exam would happen. Nobody knows when the exam would happen. Even if I know internally people, they say next month, and next month never comes. But before February, they have to conduct the exam. They can't sleep anymore. But it could be in a January. It could be not definitely in a December, because 40 days time is required. Already we are there. So hopefully in the January sometime, or maybe normally they used to have in the mid of February. So they might go back to the previous system of February. So this is in brief. If somebody has a question, you can quickly ask. So, okay, guys, we sign up for today, and hope whosoever was here is good. Those who are sleeping, good luck, all the best. Don't cry later on that you was not selected because you were sleeping. And if you sleep, nothing happens in the life. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.